4 notes, right? So that's really what I would call quote unquote simple. Simple in that there's not much to it. I don't mean simple as in it's very easy to write it. You know, it's in hindsight, I feel like, looking at it as an afterthought. Oh, I see that all those chords make sense. They all connect to each other. They're all within the same sort of musical family and the key signature. And we've got this ostinato. It's going round. There's not much happening. If you just took that as a piano performance on its own, you'd be like, oh, well, should we go somewhere else now? We've done this. You could easily get drawn into, let's try and move it around like this here. But the mastermind behind this knows that's all we need. We're going to do, it's all the drum fills and it's the production. Bass in, bass out, all fills. Building, taking down, it's all that. It's the world and being able to sort of craft it like this as opposed to getting so involved in this. Hi folks, welcome back. Hope you're all keeping well. So, big announcement, eh? Thanks to our friend on my Patreon who wishes to remain anonymous, I'm going to go through the entire Sleep Token discography. We're going to do a reaction analysis to every song going forward. And so we're going to go right back to the very beginning. And we're starting with The Night Does Not Belong to God. For anybody that's new to the channel, I have listened to a few Sleep Token songs so far. It's 2 or 3, can't really remember. Memory's a wee bit sketchy. But have really enjoyed doing everything. And all of my requests have come from the same patron who wishes to remain anonymous, much like our friends over in Sleep Token, so it's all very meta. I love it. Anyway, format of this video is going to go through the song completely uninterrupted first, give you some thoughts afterwards, and then I'm going to run it back through and talk about some of the things that are going on, maybe break it down a bit musically. If you do enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe, comment below your thoughts on the song, and yeah, without further ado, let's get going.
turning divine. We tangle endlessly, like lovers entwined. I know for the last time, you will not be mine. So give me the night, the night, the light, calm down like heaven. The night, calm down like heaven. The night, calm down like heaven. The night, calm down like
My goodness. That's about as good as it gets. You know, whenever you're listening to a really good piece of music, when time stands still, you're just completely gone. You're just completely transported. You get so engrossed and enveloped in the world of everything that's happening in there that you forget who you are. You just, just a passenger. That was absolutely beautiful. Really, really nice. At the very end there, were there either kids' voices in the background, or certainly it sounded like at least a female voice. A little bit difficult to tell because there's a couple of sort of glitchy sort of artifacts in there, intentional of course, but I don't mean glitchy as if like there's an issue with it. I mean like, the effects of it, if you like. But I definitely heard some sort of like vocal, like words were being spoken in there. We need to maybe go in there and crank the volume way up in there. Maybe somebody has isolated to see what's going on there. Sound like somebody getting a little bit emotional. Is it a woman sort of arguing, or is it kids playing, something like that? I didn't want this to end. Yeah, this was seriously super stuff, right? So rather than sort of rambling at this point of things that, let's just go back and run it through. Talk a bit about it. Wow. Please consider taking a moment to check out my other channel, JW Soundworks, where you will find unique cover song performances, newly composed piano arrangements, and all of my self-composed original music. is so cinematic that the production is just insane. It's so engrossing, so engrossing, and it's such a the production's really beautiful on this. It's like there are no harsh sounds anywhere. You know, I've heard things in the band that like you would easily categorize as like I don't know what's harsh vocals. He does scream, doesn't he? Yeah. But I don't mean you can describe things as harsh that way, and brutal maybe is another word. But what I mean is there's nothing offensive. Sometimes you get certain frequencies or certain things that pierce the ears. Even in really well produced music, there's sometimes you get something that's a bit pointy, for lack of a better word. Something about the sound of this whole thing. It's really powerful, immersive, huge sounding, but at the same time, it sounds very like comforting. It's got a softness to everything in the production that is, yeah, it just makes you want to crank it. Yeah, I can't wait. This is going to be a journey, like I know it is. And then afterwards, what I'll do is certainly with the songs that I've done in these videos, I'll go and listen to them on my big hi-fi system that I have in my living room, big floor stand speakers and stuff like that. And properly get it. This kind of stuff needs to be played really loudly, doesn't it? Anyway, quick coffee swig. Yeah, that little swell that comes in there just even before the piano. Let's see what key we're in. Oh, never an easy key with Sleep Token. So it's D flat. It's easy enough key on the piano, but not on the guitar. So if I'm in D flat, let's see, I have to go down 3 semitones. I got a fancy pedal, so it should be fine. So I'll be playing that note, but you'll be hearing. Isn't that handy? Anyway, I need a cleaner sort of sound. This might be a wee bit tricky to work out because I do use harmonics on the guitar. As a guitarist, you will inevitably use harmonics at times. But it's going to be very difficult to work out the exact one here because my guitar is tuned to standard pitch. So even the way I'll have edited this audio is, hopefully the microphone will be muted or ducked at these points when I'm playing so you don't hear it in the room. Like for example, if I do it here and turn up the guitar, you can hear they're different. So in my ears, I'm hearing the pedal coming through and the audio or the acoustic in the room, which is 2 completely different keys. So it might be very difficult for me to work this out. I would really need a guitar that's tuned down in D flat to get the exact notes. But that's certainly, maybe rather than dwelling on the exact notes, that's what's definitely going on there. You can hear. No, it doesn't sound like it's all been done in one, like. That's the kind of approximate rhythm that's being used, but you can hear it's not recorded in one take like that. Which, as somebody who records, writes, and produces his own music, I feel like somewhat qualified to try and explain why you would take that decision. Because although it's entirely possible to play, I'll make a riff out of it. Again, it's not the exact thing, but if I say it was this, I don't know, I'm going to play it. So it's not the same notes, but you get one just for demonstrative purposes. You could quite easily go record and then play it out on a loop. Whatever it is. But the sound of it is that you sacrifice being able to allow certain notes to sustain over the phrase. It also pigeonholes your performance into like all of those chords in sequence. The entire rhythmic and harmonic sequence is all being delivered like this. So it's not panned. Now you could go in post-production and try and pan a take like that, and automate it so that the first one's in the right speaker, the second one's on the left, and so on. But that will I'm sure that will be the choice for why you're hearing boom, boom, ba boom, them going around is because the riff is there, but rather than taking the choice to record it in as like one live performance, if you like, if you record them isolated, so they'll have recorded dun dun da da dun dun da da dun, that kind of take, right? Approximately, and then you'll go again and go dun dun da da dun 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 dun. So you're only recording that one, and dun 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 da da dun dun da da. You get the idea. So you've recorded them all separately, but at in the same performance time. But then you've got the choice of taking those isolated chords and putting them wherever you like. And I've done that kind of thing with my own music before, where you might take, say, a phrase like that, but instead of recording, you record that on its own, that on its own, that on its own. And then you've got all the different notes and you can move them around and you can really landscape things. So, yeah, I have an affinity for this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that my music necessarily sounds like Sleep Token's music. I'm not saying that, but I feel something akin in terms of like the sort of decisions that you would try and make whenever you might start with a riff or start with something like that, and then when it comes to producing it, how you can piece the whole thing together. Once you're in the studio, that's where you can really get very creative. And actually, it's not all about necessarily just recording a performance in. It's about, creating. You've got canvas there. You can put things wherever you want, exploit the studio environment. Absolutely. There's a time and a place for completely live, one-take performances, and certainly the drums are there. But hopefully you get what I'm saying with this whole... That's why we get this really immersive effect, is because of the way the choices that have been made to record it like this. You can hear each one of those are independent recordings. And it's like a triptych sort of effect, because it's a sequence of dun dun da da. Is it four? Hang on. Yeah, I think it started with three and then going into four, but the panning was down the middle, left, right, dun dun da, and then I think it comes back to the middle. Yeah. So especially with headphones, but you can get, even when you're sitting, I'm pointing there because you can't see them in the camera, but I've got studio monitors there that I use for recording stuff. Anyway, that's very immersive in it. Dum bum ba bum 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 bum. So you get this sort of ping-ponging effect. And then, of course, we've got the piano. So there's the harmonics on the guitar, which I guess I didn't mention, but probably a lot of you already know. But how you're achieving that is you're not actually fretting the note on the guitar. So if I take say, 5th fret, which is particularly harmonically rich, and what I mean by that is it's very easy to get harmonics on a 5th fret, even on a poorly made guitar. They all bounce out. And there's other places where they're a little bit more difficult to get unless you get a very, very resonant guitar where you can kind of get... this one's pretty good. It's a pretty good guitar, but I've had guitars where, you really struggle to get the harmonic to pop out, apart from maybe the 5th, 7th, and 12th frets. And 24th, they all always pop out. But what I'm saying is, so instead of playing the note, pressing the string down onto the board, you just hover your finger lightly over, not even in the little box, if you like, of the fret, but over the fret wire, the actual part of the fret. You just hover it delicately over the string, barely touching it, and that's how you get this sort of very high-pitched. There you go. Rumblings. It sounds like reverse delay being used there. Yeah. In the olden days, you got that like effect on a cymbal. So if you're recording a cymbal swell, You can take that and flip the tape, play it backwards, and you get that in reverse, where it sounds like it's starting loud and going to nothing. You know? Gone. There's a point I want to make, in case I forget to mention this. The music, so much of this song is in a major key. And I feel like I've talked about this somewhere else. I can't remember. I've done so many of these videos, and I teach, so I do a lot of talking in my professional life. If you see me out and about in the streets, don't be offended if I say very little. I'm genuinely a very, very quiet person outside of music, but if you get me talking about music, can't stop. So I can't remember where I said it, or if I even said it, but I feel like I've talked about Schubert. Franz Schubert, the classical composer, stands out for many reasons, but for one reason, he wrote so many pieces in a major key, and yet they're tinged with this melancholy. There's this melancholia along with it, which you don't associate with a major key. I feel like that's what's going on here. I can hear the beauty in this music, but there's something tinged with sadness in this. The vocal performance gives a lot of that, of course, but I think even if you were to take the vocal performance out of this, the music, despite it being in all these major chords, there's something profoundly sad about it. Not exclusively sad, but it has a melancholic aspect that makes me reminiscent of Schubert and his music. I love the reverb on the vocal. It sounds far away. So it's actually an A flat major. Sorry. So that it goes into the tonic there, A flat. Where must it go after that? No, it's definitely not going to be E flat minor. It's just an F minor chord. So, da, da. D flat. I've talked a lot about this before in other videos, but that unresolved, well, a note that later becomes resolved, but initially is clashing. That's one of my favorite things in music. It goes back into classical as well, you know. So this was done a long time ago, but if you listen to the way he puts the emphasis on the clashing note on that, and then resolves it to the C, at D flat. You hold on that with the F minor. Very clashing and dissonant, but it resolves. So that's a bit of a theme. Completely unnecessary ornamentation in the vocal. Unnecessary in quotation marks, by the way. Unnecessary. Which is actually necessary. Because imagine without that. Doesn't need to, he could have stayed there. And just left that space. But then keeps us really hooked into his vocals. That reminds me of Jeff Buckley. In Jeff Buckley's vocals, he had a real knack for that. In between the words, you know, sort of monosyllabic sort of sounds, you know, always you're always being pulled to his voice, and even drawing out syllables off words like that. I bring that on. I guess what it does in a sort of almost sort of subconscious level is it keeps your ear finely tuned, attentive to the singer. you know. But I'm definitely hearing the other things going on as well. Like, but I love that, you know, it just keeps you there.
by daylight,
Does it there as well.
with angels at your side.
That's a wee choice I noticed that happened a few times in the piece, even when the heavier stuff comes in, where you think it's going to land on the E flat, it just passes through. That's quite unusual. That did not sit on the E flat. Either you would normally pass over it altogether and just go straight to the D flat, or you would stay on the E flat, but to sit on it and then immediately move, it's quite quirky. Like that, idiosyncratic.
In order
Decoration in the vocals is beautiful.
bestowed by the light of the
You can hear da-da. There's something in the background. It sounds like a treated guitar to me. Could be something like an electric piano. There's so many things you can do these days with plugins, and you can make certain instruments sound like other instruments. But I think that's an electric guitar played sort of picking that's got a lot of effects on it. But you can hear it's very low in the mix, but it's providing more of a sort of. It's filling in the gaps a wee bit.
and you remember everything only to the sun.
Again, the vocals, well, not again, but this thing about three, down the middle, down the left, down the right. Is that significant of anything? Are there three people involved in this? Is there some sort of symbolism between this, and this? Might not be. And I definitely got a few things wrong in some of my other ones, but that's part of going in cold and just listening to the music for what it is. Of course, I'm going to get things wrong. Talked about 9/11 something, and although some of the comments that I read were like, hey, that's kind of cool that you got that. I never thought of that. And other ones were like, yeah, it's nothing to do with that. And that's fair enough. It is. But I still sort of stand by just trying to just take something in for what it is rather than having a whole backstory. Having the backstory, I think, is useful on a second time round. I don't want to be handed the program before I listen to it, because then I listen to it with preconceived notions. And while that will make me appreciate what's going on in it, it stops me from allowing my imagination. And I feel like that's something I should be privileged to have. We all have our own imaginations. And so whenever you hear something or you see something, I think it should be encouraged for you to allow your imagination. Go wherever it wants. And then get the tap on the shoulder and go, okay, no, doesn't do that. But this is the beauty of, you can just replay it and press play, and then you can listen to it again with the program. But now you've got two experiences, at least. You may have more as you go on, rather than being told this is that, you know. When you're in the museum, do you look at the artwork and then do you read the little blurb beside it? Or do you ignore the artwork, read the blurb, and then stand back and look at it? I definitely look at the stuff first, and then I go over and read it, and then I stand back and look at it again. I'm not saying that's the correct way to do it, but that's how I do it. Maybe there are many of you out there that are able to ignore the Mona Lisa and go, hang on a second, let me see the notes. Right, I'm ready, bring it in. I'm being facetious. But anyway, that three thing, down the middle, down the left, down the right, that could be, you know, the storyteller and him being drawn into two different directions. Or the two, you know, people in the story. Is it a relationship that's gone wrong? Who knows? I don't know. But I love the fact that there's something about this music that sparks my imagination like that. Let's go.
Everything only to the sun recedes once again, and the night comes down like heaven. The night comes down
Sorry. That was a cliffhanger, wasn't it? It's just coming down the notes of an A flat major scale. Something about the timing and the inflection of the vocals. Something very poignant. Obviously, we've got some sort of very modern sounding synth in the background there, but it really suits it. Do you also notice that whatever sort of ambience it's around in the sort of lower frequencies starts to get pulled out there? Very clever in the production because we're going to kick in with stuff. The drums come in. So from a production point of view, you're going to have more impact whenever the drums come in. If there was less happening before it, it's more contrast, more exaggerated. So you can hear things start to disappear to give that space. It lightens up before the heaviness comes in. And even then, it's not heaviness. It's still a tease. We're not there yet. Because, you know, the big sounds come later. But it's a bit of a tease. There's bass rumblings in there. Starts to disappear. Now you've got the kick drum providing that low energy. Obviously, we get a lot of this polyrhythmic stuff going on with the cymbals. That's something I do have in my own music. I'm a big fan of that. This is, the tease is the word. And then out. You know, gives us it, takes it away. Out. There's very little going on there in terms of, like if we talk about melody and harmony. Let me get the right notes. Sorry to really put my point across here. 4 notes, right? So that's really what I would call, quote unquote, simple. Simple in that there's not much to it. I don't mean simple as in it's very easy to write it. You know, it's in hindsight, if you like, you know, looking at it as an afterthought. Oh, I see that. All those chords make sense. They all connect to each other. They're all within the same sort of musical family and the key signature. And we've got this ostinato. It's going round. There's not much happening. If you just took that as a piano performance on its own, you'd be like, oh, well, should we go somewhere else now? We've done this. What about? You could easily get drawn into, let's try and move it around like this here. But the mastermind behind this knows that's all we need. We're going to do, it's all the drum fills and it's the production. Bass in, bass out, all fills. Building, taking down, it's all that. It's the world and being able to sort of craft it like this, as opposed to getting so involved in this. If you were listening to the audio of this, you'd have no idea what I'm talking about. Mind you, I don't know. I was going to make a joke there, but anyway, I'm going to check a timer on my camera in case it's running out because I'm rambling. Let's go. You know, I don't want the SLR timing out on me. Anyway, right, so should we push on a wee bit? Not hook, I've heard that before somewhere. It's in one of their other songs. Da 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 da. There's counterpoint to it. I think it's a disservice to call those vocal harmonies. Harmonies kind of implies that if you've got a line that's going, the harmony would be stacked on top, so you get this, maybe, I think a counterpoint is a better word. So they are vocal harmonies, but it's counterpoint, the way it's written. And yes, vocal harmonies can also imply that lines weave and move around. It's a different debate, maybe, but it's maybe because of the sort of prevalence of pop music and vocal music that I kind of associate harmonies being quite lazy. They're stacked vocals, but they're kind of just like copying the main line. It's always really, I'm appreciative of the fact whenever an artist takes the time to craft, it means a lot, because you could have this line, but instead of just sticking a thing up like a third above it and doing it, that's fine. It widens things out. But if you listen closely, you can hear lines moving in different directions. It takes time, takes talent, but it also takes time and craft and effort. And it's worth it in spades because it's so much more immersive. You can hear the top line is going up, whereas the other ones are going down, contrary motion there. There's that glitchy stuff there. Is a female vocal in the ear, left ear? Spoken? Maybe not. It almost sounds like arguing going on. The lower vocals like glitching, and then I feel like there's a higher frequency. It's almost like, bickering. So not only have I heard the da 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 da, like lovers entwined, their vocals, so that's from another song. You can hear in the background, dum, boom, bam. It's starting to appear again, but it's way buried there. Production's incredible. I know for the last time, you will not be mine. Will not be mine, right? So give me the night, the sick drum fills. So there's that, like I say, there's that motif just going around. But think about the heavy guitars that are in and out, and just how much sort of rhythmic energy are coming from the drums. The drums are giving us at least two things, which is they're giving us a groove with a polyrhythmic sort of cymbal offbeat, but very heavy into the backbeat on the snare. But then lots of sort of energy and decoration in the fills. So we've got the best of both worlds. Big groove, but also fancy pants stuff going on too. But not too much of one of it. It's not boring groove. That's like, is there such a thing as boring groove? Maybe not. But big heavy groove, that's cool. But I want to hear stuff. I've got it. Hearing stuff is really technical, but don't go too far. It's all right because you've got the groove. So these guys would be good making food, I reckon. They know how to salt and pepper, too much salt. Great taste. It floats. I feel like this is the kind of stuff you could headbang to. You could tap your head, you could tap your foot, you could slow dance to this. Sexy time. Sexy time, big girl. She is incredibly charged, should we say? There's something charged. It's emotional. It's heavy. It's charged, but there's a frisson of ooh. Very romantic. Something very romantic. Mixing the motifs. Da 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 da. Coming and blending. Coming. Well, okay, it says the night. That's maybe reaching here, but it sounds like those. Do you know we don't really get them here in Northern Ireland, but in sort of hotter climates, you hear the crickets or the cicadas or whatever you call them. There's something in there of like insects, and you kind of associate those with nighttime. You get them. Well, you get them if you. I've been to Greece or Crete or whatever. You hear them in the daytime there, but where was it? Sure, I heard them. Did I imagine them? It's that. So it's not what we're hearing. I'm sure it's not. It's some sort of electrical effect, electronic effect, electrical. Anyway, but it's reminiscent of creatures, you know. Very heavily layered in the textures there. It's very ambient. I almost thought I heard like the sound of like a scratching vinyl there. But if I am hearing it, it's delivered in a way that's reminiscent of it. It's not just like, oh, you hear like, it's not just that, which I have as an effect in one of my songs. But now I would go back and like do something else with it. But I guess that mine, it's at the end of an EP, and it's supposed to be the sound of, if you've fallen asleep. And if you've got a vinyl player, you know what that thing is when the needle sort of goes off. So I have that as an effect at the end of my EP to signify. It's a little thing, reminiscent of me whenever I was young and used to listen to those things in my dad's LPs and stuff like that. And you would get that sound. That was to signify the end. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like the creativity within the sound production of the band is very cool, because I'm getting notions of certain things like creatures or vinyl sounds, but I'm not overtly hearing them. I'm hearing something else that's making me think of those. And I think that's far, far more clever. I like it. Even, is that bickering? Is it kids? Is it neither? The ambiguity behind everything. Incredible. Still intent to show me some Liam Gallagher. I'm not clicking that. No offense, Liam. You're a comedy genius, like, but not a musical genius. And far am I. Did I say that? Oh my goodness. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Can't wait. If you're passionate about piano, whether as a player or listener, or if you're considering online lessons or masterclasses, please visit my YouTube channel, JW Pianoworks. There you'll discover a wealth of piano performances, with many more to come. Based on demand, I'll also be introducing video tutorials for piano pieces. Thank you.